So originally, I was gonna do an entire video and make timestamps to go to during the entire podcast. But then I had the idea I have completely different videos I want to do for each one of these topics. But the main one from the Ilia Topuria Joe Rogan Experience appearance is him mentioning Connor and the fact that this Connor fight is apparently in the works and behind the scenes is a legitimate thing from what Ilia Topuria is hinting at. So let's watch the clip. Then I'm gonna give you my thoughts on the whole thing. And then yeah. And honestly, the possibility Ilya could get Connor back to the cage. So let's do this.
To be pumped up and yeah,
That's
Connor
crazy.
seems to enjoy it, which is one of the things that makes me think he probably won't come back.
Mm.
But if he does come back, it's got to be now. You know, again at 36 years old now, Paddy Pimblett. That's the fight. That'll be
That's gonna be a big fight.
big fight.
Yeah.
But I don't even think Connor's in the drug testing pool anymore.
No,
I don't
you don't think so?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. See if you can Google that. Find out if he's in the drug. I think he
I
pulled out of the
think
drug
he's
testing
gonna come
pool.
back.
You
He's
think
gonna-
so?
To my knowledge, Connor isn't in the drug testing pool. He was in it around the Ultimate Fighter, but I heard after the toe injury, he got back out and he wasn't tested, or at least the USADA website never had anything on, or no, they're not with USADA anymore. There is a website you can go to that shows how often fighters are tested, and Connor was tested. So he was being tested frequently in the summer, around when the Chandler fight was supposed to happen. But then the testing kind of completely fell off right after the alleged pinky toe injury. So I don't really know what happened there. But the point of this video is getting Conor back to the cage and getting Conor back in the UFC, and the fact that Ilia Topuria is the biggest name there. And we're gonna go over um the rest of the things that Ilia Topuria said in this uh, podcast. I couldn't find the clips, and I got frustrated with my timestamps. So I'm just gonna go from memory. This podcast will be linked in the description. Go watch the whole thing. But yeah.
Yeah, if they give the opportunity to I don't know to guys like I don't know what 40 years old like Arlovsky, you can have so many names that they fought at 4 years age. Why not Conor?
I know that you
some
want
point-
a world title fight at 155, but would you make an exception for a Conor McGregor fight at 155
But right now,
right now?
no,
No. Good for you.
Do you think it's gonna be excited if I beat Islam and then I give the chance to Conor?
No, I mean like right now, before Islam. Like if the UFC.
Okay, so I want to talk about what Ilya Topuria just said, because Joe completely looked over this statement. If Ilya Topuria beat Israel Makhachev, say at International Fight Week, Abu Dhabi, whenever it may be, Arman Sarukian is not in good favor with the UFC. He already has accepted the fact that he will have to go and have another fight. You got Justin Gaethje, who just beat Fiziev, but got knocked out by Max Holloway, who Ilya Topuria beat. So when it comes to who is the legitimate lightweight contender for the title, it's between two guys. It's Ilia Topuria. It's Arman Sarukian. If it's not Arman Sarukian, it should be Ilia Topuria, who by MMA math is the number one contender in the lightweight division without even fighting in the lightweight division. But, yeah, but let's hear what Joe has to say.
UFC calls you up and says, I know you want a world title fight. We guarantee you a world title fight after this.
Actually, we had that talks a little
Really?
bit. Yeah, but yeah, I
What
don't
was
know.
that? What was that talk? Tell me what that talk
no,
was like.
No.
Come on.
After this one, I know I'm gonna get some calls. That you know how the UFC is. They are like very specific.
Yes.
Don't say anything.
Right.
To no
late.
one.
Well, no one's listening. You can tell everybody.
Yeah. Only a couple of million of people is listening. Yeah.
So right there, I'm gonna play that again. Right there. The fact that he doesn't even want to say anything about it.
Come on.
After this one.
We guarantee you a world title fight after this.
Actually, we had that talks a little
Really?
bit. Yeah, but yeah, I
what
don't
was
know.
That what was that talk? Tell me what that talk was like.
No.
Come on.
After this one, I know I'm gonna get some calls. That you know.
Okay, like for the UFC, right? Why Ilia Topuria, when you really look at it from a business perspective, Ilia Topuria is one of the only guys you can give the Conor fight to now. The thing with Michael Chandler, he isn't going to capitalize off of a Conor win anymore. He lost to Patty, he lost to Charles again. His only wins are Tony Ferguson and Dan Harker. Conor coming in and fighting Ilia Topuria, who has beat a common opponent in Max Holloway, knocked him out. The first person to do that. Beat Alex Volkanovski, who at the time was the number 2 pound for pound fighter in the world. I know I was, 3 months after Islam did it. But this is massive. Again, in the back of my head, I always thought this fight was possible. And you look at Conor now, he announced yet another retirement. He's an owner of BKFC. You have everything going on. But all of the out of the cage stuff is why this fight kind of makes sense. Now, I don't want Ilia Topuria to pull Michael Chandler here, unleash his entire career. I want to see Ilia Topuria fight Israel Makhachev, our monster routine. He said in this podcast, and we're going to get to that after, he reiterated that he is not going to fight Charles Oliveira due to the fact that Oliveira has 13 losses in his career. The record really matters, so but I'm jumping topics there.
You know how the UFC is. They are like very specific.
Yes.
Don't say anything.
Right.
To no
late.
one.
Well, no one's listening. You can tell everybody.
Yeah. Only a couple of million of people is listening. Yeah.
No one's gonna notice. It'll slip right by.
So, yeah, if they offer me a fight against Conor right now, we'll see. Why not?
Why not?
Why not? Why not? I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say no.
Just for the numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, nobody is saying no to the Conor fight. You could literally offer the Conor fight. I mean, the only people in the UFC that would turn it down would be Israel Makhachev. Absolutely any fighter on the roster, I would say middleweight to featherweight, would sign that contract the second it hit their table. And that's the same with Ilia, too. And you look at Ilia is about to turn into the biggest star of the sport. I know that was Alex Pereira, but with Alex losing to Magomed Ankalaev in a boring fight, but it went how many expected. Ilia Topuria and Israel Makhachev are the 2 fighting for the spot as the face of the UFC. Sean O'Malley isn't. Sean O'Malley, I get it. He has big gates. He can't be the face. He's not gonna outshine Ilia Topuria, Islam Makhachev, which is it's why Ilia Topuria's move to lightweight is so big for the legacy, right? But let's continue.
Cut of that pay-per-view and it hits 2 million buys.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Why not?
That's the thing about Conor. Is like still, even though he might not be the best fighter in the world right now, he's the golden goose.
Of course he is.
Yeah,
That's something
crazy.
that you can't take away
Kind
from
of
him.
amazing, you know. That he still guarantees that many eyeballs will go to see him. You know, it just
That would be a great one. But what excites me more is the fight with Paddy.
really.
Yeah, that fight excites me even more. And if they could put that fight in Spain, in the Bernabeu Stadium,
So at this point, Ilia Topuria thinks that Paddy Pimblett is the bigger fight for him. And okay, at this point right now, where we are, 2025 April or whatever month it is, that is the more exciting fight. That is the most interesting fight besides Israel Makhachev. As Paddy, after Paddy went in and demolished Michael Chandler, how Ilia Topuria did take jabs at Michael Chandler, but still Michael Chandler has had nothing but fight of the year fights every time he has stepped into the octagon. But it's an interesting point of view because on one hand you're either building a bigger star from your biggest star, or the lottery chance that Conor can come back and knock out Topuria can happen. Not likely. What do you do then? How big is that moment?
Ooh.
I know that Dana doesn't like to put the events in the stadium, but that's the only stadium in the world that they can close the roof.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And this prepared for that kind of
How many people?
80,000. Yeah.
You get 80,000 in Spain easy too.
Yeah.
If
no
you're fighting
problem.
in Spain,
No problem.
oh my God, that would be insane. I might have to go to
Insane.
Spain for that.
And a lot of people could travel from England to Spain.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
that happens very often.
But if they do it in Spain, it's got to be on Spain time. They can't do that shit that they did when Leon Edwards.
Here's my gripe with that. The China card was infuriating. I get it. I live in Canada. I'm lucky. Most of the pay-per-views start at 3 p.m. at the earliest, 5 p.m. at the latest. The China card, I stayed up for that channel, the last China card. I watched every single. What the? I watched every single fight on the prelims, and then I couldn't even watch the main card. And then when I went on alternative um avenues to watch the fight, I couldn't even get them to work. So I basically stayed up for like 20 hours for no reason. But I mean, if they can have the card in Spain at a reasonable time, you know, it would be massive. I think is right. At this point, you got 3 big fights, and 2 of them. Well, no, you got 4. Islam DDP we're waiting on. But like Ilia Topuria is at the head of probably the biggest fights in the UFC right now, with moving into the lightweight division.
Fought.
It has to be in Spain time, but I think that with the like the negotiations they are having with ESPN and I don't know in which platform they are going to put the UFC events, they're going to ask for space for 4 or 5 events in Europe in the prime time.
For Europe.
Yeah,
Europe
for
prime
Europe.
time.
Europe prime
Europe
time.
prime time is fine.
which I wish I watched this podcast before I did my video on the TV rights deal. If you didn't watch that one, go check that out. I basically run over the major players and who potentially will be broadcasting the fights and what I believe will happen there. But again, the main reason in the ESPN era, Conor and the UFC were so hesitant in having him fight is that he was on two fights. He has two fights left on his deal. If he would have fought Michael Chandler at International Fight Weekend, he would have had one on his deal. He was making a big point about it on social media when he was on the comeback when he was doing the Ultimate Fighter. But again, it comes down to what will Conor be? What would a Conor return look like to the UFC after he retired for like the ninth time? And I do believe that Ilia Topuria was one of the right options, and that probably is insane for most people to hear. But you look at it from the UFC's point of view and promoting the fight, you got the biggest star you have ever had taking on the biggest star you are building right now, who has just ran through two of the best featherweights in the world. And when you think about the featherweight division, Conor McGregor is the name that comes to mind. Conor McGregor started off in the featherweight division, and Ilia Topuria is trying to do what Conor McGregor did. The fact that he never defended the featherweight belt. Now you can argue that um Conor, well no, Conor won the interim. You can point that out. But for Ilia Topuria, the options are simple to him. He doesn't want the Oliveira fight because Oliveira has a lot of losses. He wants the Makachev fight because Makachev is number one pound for pound and he has the lightweight belt. He doesn't mind if he doesn't fight as long as he fights for the lightweight title. And he also said he was guaranteed a title shot on his mobile. Well, let's finish this video
Right.
and then
Because it's in the afternoon in America.
go on with
That's
that.
fine. So the fight's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You people watch football games. 100 million people watch a football
Europe
game.
still
At 1
is to
o'clock.
be a virgin market. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You got 500 million people in Europe. It's more than the United States
Right.
even.
Right. And
So-
if they did it on Netflix, everybody has Netflix.
Everybody has Netflix.
That might happen.
That's why.
They're in negotiation right now.
That will be a massive one in Spain
in Spain. Oh my God.
against that pimple.
And already right there, you gotta respect that too. He's already planning for his position in the new TV right deal. Like when I watched this entire thing, I understand what we're at for time here. Number one, let's talk about the Connor thing. If this is true, this is one of the only ways you bring back Connor. You bring him against Chandler, you bring him against Patty, you bring him against Ilia Topuria. Those are the only three options, and he just retired a week ago. I doubt he's coming back. The other thing is, Ilia Topuria really doesn't want to fight Charles Oliveira. Mainly because Oliveira has losses. But Joe Rogan tried to make the point of, yeah, he has those losses, but once he became a father, Oliveira turned into the Oliveira we have now, who has only lost to Islam Makhachev, who has been the most dominant lightweight champion of all time, and a very close 3-round fight with Arman Sarukian that, if it was a 5-round fight, could have been much different. But Ilia Topuria really shook up the landscape of the UFC, and it's very convenient we're talking about the TV rights deal now because Ilia versus Conor probably is the biggest fight they can make. Like, it all depends on what Conor's image is, you know. It depends on what Islam does. We know that he wants to move up if JDM beats the wall. But if we don't get Islam versus Ilia Topuria, that will be a sin. This is literally the number 2 and 3 in many people's eyes, the number 1 and 2 pound for pound guys going at it once again. You look at it from Islam Makhachev standpoint. His only other option is to go face Arman Sarukian, who he already beat, and the UFC is pissed off with. Justin Gaethje, he beats in a sweep. When he goes and fights the undefeated guy who knocked out Volkanovski, the same guy who was number 1 pound for pound when Islam fought him. That's the only move. But let me know in the comments down below. What did you think about Ilia Topuria's appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast? I was gonna go through the entire podcast and have timestamps, but I got pissed off doing it. Let me know what you thought about it, man. Ilia Topuria really shook up the UFC. I even have like several other topics I probably will do videos coming from this podcast. But yeah, that's all I got. Later.